I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is a special episode of Alter Ego Comics TV where we focus on the best Wolverine graphic novels. The Wolverine movie opens this weekend, and people are kind of excited about it. Maybe it feels like this is the end of the summer. Like we've had all of the big blockbusters already, and now we've got this little movie called The Wolverine. Now, oddly enough, X-Men First Class kind of felt the same way, so maybe this will be a surprise and blow us all away. But regardless, if you're curious about the character of Wolverine, if you've only seen him in the movies and you want to start getting into comics, or if you're a comic book fan and you didn't live through the 1970s and 80s and 90s, then we're going to give you some recommendations on what to check out as far as Canada's most favorite feral mutant. Go ahead.
Elected for 4 years running, Canada's favorite feral mutant. All right, first up is, of course, the granddaddy of them all, Wolverine by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. This is the first Wolverine miniseries. This is his first shot as his own book, and it's super awesome. This sets up a lot of the stuff that has kind of become innate to the Wolverine character. You know, the opening line of the book is, I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very pretty, which is sort of Wolverine's tagline now.
It's very nice.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Not very pretty. Very pretty. What I do isn't very nice.
Oh.
I'm pretty.
He is pretty. But, the...
Josh doesn't know what he's talking about.
I've seen Wolverine yelling that he's pretty now. He's a pretty, pretty princess. The Miller Claremont story sets up a lot of things that carry on in today. Supporting characters. This is Wolverine's first trip to Japan, or his first trip to Japan that we see. And it sets up things that are both apparently being used in the new movie, including some very direct scenes that are in the trailer that are taken almost line from the movie, or from the comic. And it really set up this idea as Wolverine as kind of a worldwide adventurer. You know, he has friends who are secret agents. He has a long past that he may not know about, but it's very interesting and hinted at and set up kind of the mystique of the character as Wolverine could go anywhere and know someone. Wolverine has had adventures everywhere for decades. And it's just really great, and I think it really benefits from the Frank Miller artwork. This is before Frank Miller got old and crazy and everyone was a prostitute. But you definitely see some cool elements. I think this is the first time I looked and went, oh, that's where Sin City came from. Some of the shots of Wolverine and Yukio running across the rooftops like were blacked out and looked like Sin City. It's very cool Miller work. It's probably some of my favorite work from Frank Miller. And yeah, Chris Claremont knocking it out of the park. A lot of the contemporaries of Chris Claremont, their work doesn't fare well today. And almost all of the predecessors, but Claremont stuff still reads really fresh and still sounds like people talk. It's an interesting, readable story. It doesn't suffer from its age, and it's just a modern classic.
And an important thing to keep in mind with this is Wolverine had only been seen as a member of the X-Men prior to this miniseries.
And a forgettable Hulk villain.
Yes.
Or antagonist, I guess.
In one issue and one page. But... yeah, it's almost impossible to think of Wolverine now not being everywhere. You know, Wolverine, the running gag now is that Wolverine is a guest star in every book. Wolverine has 27 different titles on the stands every month. And this was kind of at the beginning of his popularity. You know, the character was a breakout of the all-new X-Men team, or the giant-size X-Men team. And instead of Marvel being the way they are now, they tested the waters with this 4-issue miniseries to see if he was interesting enough for people to pick up and carry his own series. So, you know, if you can put all of what you know about Wolverine aside and look at this with fresh eyes, it really is a great 4-issue miniseries and a great introduction to the character outside of Uncanny X-Men. Next up, we would recommend Wolverine Enemy of the State. And these are in no particular order, I should say. It's somewhat chronological, but not really. Wolverine Enemy of the State was written by Mark Miller of Kick-Ass fame and Civil War, and artwork by John Romita Jr., his co-creator on Kick-Ass. So this, I believe, was their first collaboration. And it's a 12-issue series that ran in the main Wolverine comic book, and Wolverine is captured and brainwashed by Hydra and basically becomes a killing machine for Hydra, and he takes on many characters within the Marvel Universe. This is almost like an event book, I would say. You know, you see a lot of the crossovers, a lot of the big company events at Marvel and DC. Well, this involved a whole heck of a lot of Marvel Universe characters. So the first 6 issues is Wolverine brainwashed by Hydra, just carving a path through the Marvel Universe. He is captured rescued by S.H.I.E.L.D. and turned back into normal Wolverine and becomes a killing machine for S.H.I.E.L.D. and goes after Hydra. It's very action-packed, very fast-paced, feels like a movie, actually. And I think Miller has that effect with his writing. I mean, you've seen a lot of his stuff, well, Kick-Ass, and I know that some of his other creator-owned properties are in development as films. I think he writes as if these are films. Some comic book writers have a traditional comic book style of writing. Some have more of a, how do I want to say? I don't know. I don't know what I want to say. Other than it's really action packed. I mean, it feels like a big budget blockbuster and has everything that you would want in a Wolverine story.
And am I misremembering? But the hand had something to do with him being the hand's in there.
Yeah,
too, right?
the hand is involved, and the hand
Okay.
has always been involved since the Wolverine miniseries.
Since the Wolverine miniseries, yeah, they're in there too.
A lot of people think of the hand as Daredevil's, Daredevil's villains, but they're also Wolverine's villains.
A lot of the time. Some of my favorite parts about this is when Hydra mind controls him. One of the first things they do is they send him out after other superheroes, and it's so cool. It's Wolverine's kind of Batman moment. It's Wolverine infiltrating the Baxter building, this unimpenetrable fortress where where Reed Richards keeps his family, and Wolverine walks through it. It's just amazing to see how cool and how dangerous Wolverine can be when all of the stops are pulled out. I also really like that they used Elektra really well in the series, and they're great kind of companion characters. They're both killers who've sort of been heroes and villains at the same time, and I just love the chemistry between them. Next up is an interesting choice. We've got House of M. It doesn't have Wolverine in the title, I know. But this is the big Marvel crossover from, 8 years ago now? It was their big event book. And while it is a Marvel Universe story, it is almost exclusively a Wolverine story. The Scarlet Witch takes us into an alternate reality where mutants are the dominant species, Magneto is lord of all creation and is feted, and humans are an underclass. And we see everyone's lives and the way things are changed like we do with any alternate reality story. But the main character, or the character through which we experience the story, is Wolverine. Partially, presumably, because his memories have been messed up so much over the years, he's the only one that seems to know that the world is wrong. And so he's the one running around through this alternate reality. It's almost like a twisted It's a Wonderful Life, where he sees the world as he sees it as it should be and sees how awful this new world is, even though most of his friends are happier in the new reality. And also, another reason this is a great Wolverine story is the end of it sets up the next, really up to this day, the Wolverine storyline. The end of this is where he gets his memories back, and we get the opportunity to go back and explore everything. You get the Wolverine Origins miniseries. We get to see where he actually remembers things, and he gets to interact with old villains. And beyond that, it's just a really great comic. This is the first Bendis book I read that I knew was great. Alone, the end of the first issue where you see Peter Parker's life in this new reality, which I'm not going to spoil, but is heartbreaking and awesome. So House of M is just an amazing read, and it is a great example of Wolverine not as a slashy, destroy hero, but as a detective, as a man out of time, just sort of Wolverine on his own, truly alone in an alternate reality.
It's also an excellent starting point if you're just getting into Marvel Comics. A lot of times we'll direct people towards Civil War as the first book to pick up to get into Marvel Comics, but House of M actually came first, and it's accessible, it's a great story, and it's set up years' worth of stories in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, it's drawn by Olivier Coipel. It's pretty.
That guy. I'm going to switch these two, just so you know. You're going to be doing that one. This next section is called the Jason Aaron section of Wolverine, and I really started checking out Jason Aaron's work on Wolverine when he was doing Weapon X. The first story arc honestly did not grab me, but the next 2 or 3 were really, really good, and I went back and reread the first story arc not too long ago, and it's better than I remember it. But Aaron has a really great way of capturing the essence of Wolverine. It's very clear that he is a Wolverine fan. It's kind of like Dan Slott writing Spider-Man. You can tell that they both have a lot of affection for these characters. And I think more than any other writer right now, Jason Aaron has helped Wolverine evolve as a character. So you want to start with the Weapon X series by Jason Aaron, which ran, I think, about 35 or 36 issues. They're all collected in graphic novel format. Then Jason Aaron got a crack at a new Wolverine series, just called Wolverine again, and the first story arc is Wolverine Goes to Hell. And essentially Wolverine is defeated by a demon from hell. His body remains on Earth, possessed by this demon while his soul is in hell. And it's if you're a Wolverine fan, if you've been reading the character for a while, it's very moving. You see him come into contact with people that his friends that are now in hell because of things that they've done during their lives, people like Puck. You see his father in hell. You see Sabretooth there. This is before Sabretooth came back from the dead for the umpteenth time. So you've got the two things. You've got Wolverine trying to journey through hell and escape, and then you've got his body possessed by a demon trying to eliminate the X-Men. And it's just a really solid story. The next part is even more heart-wrenching than what you see in the first volume. So check out the first couple volumes of Jason Aaron's Wolverine series. And then finally, the current series that Jason Aaron is writing with Wolverine is called Wolverine and the X-Men. And if you've been watching our videos for a while, you know that we love this series. It really has taken the character of Wolverine to the next level as teacher and mentor instead of crazy berserker. He doesn't really lose it that much. He's more of a teacher. He's the headmaster of the school. He's established the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning as an alternate to what Cyclops was doing with his group of mutants, which was training them to be soldiers. Wolverine is training them to be humans, be mutants. It was training them to fit in society, doing what Charles Xavier was doing, educating their minds as well as training their bodies. So it's just a really solid series with a great supporting cast. You've got characters like Kitty Pryde and Iceman and Rachel Summers. Rachel Summers? The Phoenix from the Days of Future Past storyline. Currently ongoing. The previous volumes, if you want to catch up, are all available in graphic novel format, but it's just a really good, fun book.
Indeed. And next up, we've got another book by Mark Millar, Wolverine Old Man Logan. This one's got art by Steve McNiven. And this is a out-of-time story, kind of similar to the Avengers, the end, the Hulk, the end, the Wolverine, the ends they did, and in some ways overlapping with those. Basically, it's set an indeterminate number of years in the future, and the villains have won. The world, something went down, which is revealed throughout the series, and these villains essentially control America. There's a cool map that shows, oh, well, this is the Hulk's territory, and this is Magneto's territory, and over here is the Asgardians, and the Asgardian villains. Loki has.
Oh, okay. I thought the Asgardians.
Well, and yeah, are they good? Are they really? Odin? I don't know. Kind of skeevy.
He's a bastard.
But Old Man Logan is especially cool because of what it does. It sort of extrapolates everything you love about the Marvel Universe and takes it into the future. You know, we've got blind Hawkeye showing up to take Wolverine on a mission in the spider buggy. And what more do you need from that, other than that? And it's just incredibly well put together. You know, you have Wolverine, who's essentially become a pacifist because of something, which again is revealed in the course of the series. He's trying to build a life for his family and not really doing all that well. When Hawkeye shows up for this one last mission and they go riding off to face probably inevitable death. And it has appearances by any number of different characters, some surprising. You see descendants of Marvel characters, and you see a very different type of Wolverine story. It's just so much fun, and really you can see that Mark Millar, I don't know if I want to say he loves the Marvel Universe, because he did some horrible things to it, but he clearly has an appreciation for what we care about in the Marvel Universe, and it's just great.
Worth mentioning here, we've got numerous Uncanny X-Men stories by Chris Claremont, including the Dark Phoenix Saga and Days of Future Past, which is the name of the next X-Men movie coming out next summer, by the way, and features Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. So, Dark Phoenix Saga, of course, I'm sure most people are familiar with. Phoenix, or Jean Grey, possessed by the Phoenix Force, becomes Dark Phoenix, does a bunch of bad stuff, and it's her story of redemption and destruction at the same time, and Wolverine's deep emotional connection to Jean makes it a Wolverine story. It makes you want to see what happens next, and really establishes, I mean, that storyline just has so many great moments that we see over and over again. Wolverine invading the Hellfire Club and taking on everybody firsthand. Wolverine not being able to kill Jean when he has the opportunity because he loves her. Just so much cool stuff. Days of Future Past actually came right on the heels of the Dark Phoenix Saga and takes the X-Men into this dark future where the Sentinels are destroying mutants left and right. There are only a handful of mutants on the run and left alive. And we get to see what Wolverine is like as kind of a grizzled old war veteran. which is another great way to look at the character. Great stuff by Chris Claremont, and also available in graphic novel format. You should absolutely pick it up. And those things, as well as everything we've mentioned so far, have really, more than anything else, have contributed, I think, to the foundation of the character and what made him who he is.
But if you want to talk about what made him who he is, of course, we have an honorable mention for Paul Jenkins' Wolverine Origin. This is the most recent the retelling of, well, actually, it's just the telling. It's the first time we saw it, of Wolverine's actual origin, his birth, his young life, and it revealed things that obviously at the time had been mysteries for decades. It's got art by Adam Kubert, and was Quesada involved in that?
He did the covers.
Oh, covers, that's right. I just see this in my head. And it was a strong basis for the Wolverine Origin movie, or at least the parts of it that didn't suck. And it is what it is. I mean, there's a sequel coming out next year. They've actually just announced it at Comic-Con, written by Kieran Gillen, with art by Kubert again, Adam. And it's the de facto origin of Wolverine in the Marvel Universe, and it sets up things. It's interesting to have an origin written after there's 30 years of history for the character, because you can sort of preemptively make hints at things that are going to come later, even though you know they've already happened. And Jenkins did a great job of kind of interweaving what we already knew with things we didn't know and making it a surprising story.
And this one polarizes the fan community. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, but it is, I think, essential Wolverine reading. The sequel series actually starts this fall, and picks up from where the other one left off. The previous Origin series kind of ends with Wolverine going off into the wilderness. So how does he go from that to experiencing some of the things that we know that he's done, fighting in various wars, meeting different historical people and characters throughout the years. And so maybe we're going to see some of that. But Kieran Gillen is a very capable storyteller, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he does with it. So that's it in a nutshell. That's our crash course in Wolverine graphic novel, comic book, storytelling stuff. Maybe read all of them before you go see the movie this weekend. Hopefully the movie is good. I'm a longtime Wolverine fan, and unfortunately there hasn't been a lot to love recently, just because Marvel feels like they need to put Wolverine on everything. I don't know what else to say. I liked Wolverine more when he was around sparsely, when he was only in one book or two books. But you can't go wrong with any of these. You can definitely find these here at Alter Ego Comics, or hit your local comic book store and learn more about Wolverine. He's a great character. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions or things that you felt we missed, because we know that there are plenty. We've got 30, 35 years of Wolverine stories. What are your favorites? Put them in the comments below. Confirm stuff that we've talked about, or add to the list, and share the information. Let people know. See you next time.